Hi, we're Doug and Sharon Stenger, and we're talking today about Kyle's message that he called, "What Story Are You Telling?" and also Psalm 105.
105. And it was such a good message, and it's perfect for this period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So many issues flying around and uncertainty, and people aren't sure what to expect. So I'm so glad we have this message and this passage to review this.
It's a message about God's faithfulness and remembering all he's done in his faithfulness. That's a great topic for us to be talking about today because it's our anniversary.
I know. I didn't forget.
Good. Yeah, so 54 years ago today, which I can't even believe, June 8th, 1966, we were married. And it's been really fun to remember back and to think back about how God's been with us all those years. And it is, I know Psalm 105 talks a lot about the miracles and all the wonders that God did, and really one of his biggest was keeping us married all these years. It's amazing.
Well, and how God arranged the details and the timing. So many variations and so much uncertainty with my schedule as a pilot in the Air Force.
Yeah, so many things like that. And there's just so many wonderful memories. I'd love to just spend the next couple of days thinking back on all of those. But there's also been a lot of difficult times and challenges and disappointments and hurts and all of that.
You know, the first one that comes to mind is 10 days after we were married, I left for Southeast Asia on a 13-month remote tour. And I'll never forget the bittersweet experience of being newly married and yet saying goodbye to you and our families for 13 months.
Wow, and that was probably the worst day of my life, certainly to that point, and maybe even ever since then. But actually 6 months later after that, I remember I was able to join you on Taiwan, and we were on our way to a New Year's Eve party, and we got that horrible news that your dad had died back here in Oakland, California.
And he was only 54,
I know.
and that was 54 years ago.
Yeah, so painful.
Seems unreal.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a time a few years later, one December day, when I lost my job at the hotel. And it happened, I was home reaming out the sewer because we had a plugged up sewer line in our home. And when you returned from a doctor's appointment with the news that you were pregnant.
That was another very bittersweet day. We were kind of had a lot of issues going on, but we were excited eventually about the news. And it was only about 2 years later when that baby had spinal meningitis, and I remember how difficult those days were when she was in the hospital, and we weren't sure she would make it, and we weren't sure what the lingering results would be. And there's so many of those kinds of things. I guess we'll never forget them. But what I remember most is how God's been with us through all of those and so many more, and how he has been faithful. And so like Psalm 105, what we want to focus on, of course, is God's faithfulness through it all. Kyle kind of expressed it as walking backwards into the future.
Yeah, and that's so true. That's been such a part of our journey, is when we're encountering a tough time or even a celebration time, it brings back memories of things that occurred years earlier, for which we continue to be thankful and give God the credit, because those weren't our doing.
Right, and the story we want to tell, the story we want our family and our grandkids and our friends and everybody to know, is that it is a story about God's faithfulness, and everything we have really is a gift from God. But Kyle also reminded us that there are some stories that we tell ourselves that we need to change. And I know for myself that's true. How about you?
Oh, definitely. At this point in my life, I'm not employed, I'm retired, and sometimes I wonder how I'm using my time, and if I'm making a difference anywhere, or if there are things I should be doing that I'm not getting around to.
So the story you
So
tell
it's-
is maybe or is that I'm
I'm
not,
wasting.
yeah, I'm not worthy, or I'm not needed anymore. And I know for me, one of the stories that I've told probably all my life is that you can't have fun till the work's done, and the work's never done. That was a story I learned from my mom, and so that's a story that has needed to change, and I'm still working on changing that. And then in these days, I tell myself the story that we might not make it financially, through our retirement, especially with all the uncertainties that we've had lately with financially. But I love the fact that we still don't know what the future holds.
No, but we know who holds our
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
And as we continue to look back over the years, there's not a doubt in my mind that God knows what we need and when we need
Mhm.
it. And that's always a huge consolation.
Mhm.
So I look forward to the future, and
Well, and I think that Psalm 105 is a good reminder for us and for all of us. And that is, I love these words. Let's give thanks to the Lord, call on his name, sing to him, sing praise to him, tell all of his wonderful acts, look to the Lord in his strength, and seek his face always. And I love the way the psalmist ends Psalm 106, and that is, praise the Lord. Mhm.
and happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.